This is bad. The light's going away anyways. All right, and there we are, and I managed it. And I think it's working. There's nobody here, so I don't really know. I think it's working. I don't have any way to check. Yeah, so nobody's here. If I go onto YouTube, will I see? I'll probably feedback the mic though. So I'm trying to see if I can. I don't know where the mic is on sensitivity. So I'll just go here. Go to my channel. Let's see here. Is this it? No, I don't know where it's at. It's just ridiculous. And this is me. View my channel. And nobody's here, so I don't even know if I'm real. And let's see. You can hear myself echoing in the room. Okay, that's it. Let's see, live. Legends live. Legends live. Okay, I am working. Legends live. Okay, I am working. Okay, now I gotta turn on. Well, that's a way. Good evening. I was messing with my phone, had to go on YouTube to see if I could actually hear myself. For some reason, now the mic isn't showing any levels. I don't know why that is. Yeah, I can tell it's working. I brought up YouTube and double checked. I should put an earbud in and check and see how it sounds, but then there's that delay and it's always loud and clear. 2 questions. What's your favorite find in the Superstitions? The coins at Burns Ranch. I found those silver dollars. That's probably the favorite. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of this. That was really a cool moment. What does the I'm Wayne Tuttle You're Not come from? Chevy Chase, Saturday Night Live. The original Saturday Night Live, Chevy Chase would say, and I'm Chevy Chase and you're not. And one day I was goofing around and said it, and then I just kept saying it. So that's actually Chevy Chase. Audio isn't so great. Why isn't it so great? Is it? I don't know what it could be. So it should be fine right now. I'm sitting right up in front of the mic. And I turn up. Okay, I see David Keith, and then I see Lacey. Are you guys on separate computers? You guys listen separately? You go to your room, I'll go to my room, and we'll listen. There we go. Yes. It was better with your old. It's the same mic. It's just you couldn't see it before. This one worked. It's the same mic. The only difference is we moved the mic here. It used to sit over there, and it was distracting because I had to always kind of talk, and then of course the monitors are in front of me, so I was talking in a direction to the mic. And then when I talked to the monitor to read the monitor, I was turned away from the mic. So I did that. I don't know. This should make a difference. I don't think this makes a difference. You can tell me if it makes a difference. I don't think it does. I suppose it's just basically keeping me from popping and from the peas and then basically spitting on the mic. Hi from New Jersey. Sounds good tonight. By the way, I run it through my mixer, and depending on how you're coming across is always manageable. Well, and I have a mixer here. I don't want to take the camera down. There's a mixing board in front of me, but we don't run it through the mixer. One of my problems, I think it says it goes through the internet, because we get with the mic setups and everything we use, we get good audio. It's just for whatever reason going live, it loses all its warmth, and then the room comes into play a lot. And like right now in the room, I barely hear any other echo in the room, the reverb. But when I listen to it on the playback, because I'll check it to make sure everything works, and it's funny because I can always hear it, and I don't necessarily hear it, but we're usually, I don't know, we use some of the same mics. I don't know. I guess I could use one of the recording mics. I don't know how I'd set that up. But anyways, we've talked about running it through the mixer. but then I'd want an earbud to make sure I adjust it, and then it gets too technical. So is it really that important? If you can hear me, you can hear me. The dogs are going off because they're dogs. And Jax is looking out the window. So who knows what they think they see. Shifting your position, we can't hear your room corner. What? Hello, everyone. Hello. And your room corner, shifting your position, we can corner. Oh, you're saying, yeah, well, I think it sounds like my thought, but I could be wrong. But I do want to baffle up the room a little, so quiet. But one of the other problems I run into is I put the guitars all up, and when I mic and record in here, generally you don't hear it, but also you have the walls and everything. It's a hard room, and even though it's carpeted, all the acoustic instruments, I got a resonator and an acoustic guitar up in front of me. I don't think I have anything acoustic. Oh, I got a classical back behind me. So, and those guitars actually do kind of ping off of this a little bit. I can hear them a little bit if it gets a little louder and stuff. But it's just, that's for ease, because it's, you see the cases back there, and there's more cases over here and everything. It's just such a pain in the butt to pull everything out of the cases, which there's still 3 or 4 guitars in cases, even though there's guitars on all the walls. So, and I see someone did something really bad. I don't understand why the bass is leaning over on the amp, but I saw there was a little bit of that. I didn't take a look at the room when I came in here. So somebody's been playing in here, and someone didn't strap something in. So that's me being irritated with that. Hello, hi. Okay, so we got people from everywhere and coming in. I don't always know what to say. I think about play something, then I got to get up, then I got to find a guitar, take a guitar down, and go do that. We'll do that. And plus, the other problem, buffering on my end. The buffering should be on your end, not my end, because I think everybody else is fine. It can be your internet reception, your Wi-Fi. The problem is this mic doesn't work well with that. That was one of the things we wanted to change. And if I use the board, then I can do something more straight from the board. Prescott, Dale Pitcock, Pitcook or Pitcock. Anyways, reading from Prescott or Prescott, depending whether you've been there a long time or not. And so because it sounds so junky, because we did that, see, not everybody's buffering. Unfortunately, yeah, it could be the weather, it could be a lot of things. But because it sounds so terrible, we've done it a couple times, and I'm like, man, that sounded bad. And so I want to make sure we test and try to do things. I want to get a better mic, but then the problem with the sensitivity of the mic is the room, different. Is it worth it? I don't know. So, but yeah, it's strange how I hear what we do chasing legends, then we do stuff outdoors, and then I do this stuff, and then I sound different for everything. Stevie Ray Vaughan. That would be a Strat. Actually, I did string up the old Strat, restrung it the other day. Yeah, it needed some new set of strings on it, and I strung it up. So that's one of my favorites. So anyhow, here we are. It's Friday, December 1st. We're into December, the countdown to the end of the year. So, and always lots to do. It's that time of year to get in the mountains, go do stuff. Saw your buddies. Vid of you trying to detect. Yeah, that was it's funny when you know someone's name and then you go Jack Tucker. Anyways, Jack. Anyways, yeah, when we did the ghost chasing thing, and he didn't get some of the best parts. We spent a lot of time in the amphitheater, and it did say something about dancing. It also said we are watching you or something. We sat there in the dark for probably 20 minutes or so. That was a weird moment, but it just, when you do it, and Trevor was kind of like, I wish we would have recorded it, and especially like in night vision, and let someone be bored and watch the whole thing, because you would understand how that stuff works just so randomly, and it would dispel a lot of stuff. But then does it kind of, Jack did a nice job of making it seem like maybe there was something there. Plus he took all the F-bombs that I did, because I called things out. I asked things to possess Sal, and I had all kinds of fun with that. So, but we had a good time with that. It was fun. It was one of the things that if it says words, it does like text words. And then we had one that does voice. It scans the radio waves. Then we had Trevor was holding the EMF meter for electrical. Please press the like button. There we go. Press the like button. Robert from Cortez Lakes. Robert from Cortez Lakes is here. It was a bunch of different stuff. It was like when we went out for when we were doing the stuff from last season, the 12 episodes, and we set up several times. There's phone apps. Yes, we use phone apps, but the EMF meters, they have them on the phones, but I was using an actual EMF meter, an actual real meter to detect stuff that you use in electrical work and for all that stuff. Happy Friday, everybody. But we went out and we set up. We got a couple of these. Well, none of them are close by, but we have the digital recorders that do night vision and stuff. And the problem was, well, I could hear the guitars. The resonator really went off on that one. Thank you, Rocky. But you would just sit through hours and hours of nothing. It's generally nothing. You'll see bugs. You'll see if someone walks through, you'll see dust orbs. People call them orbs, but they're just dust. It's really kind of, so, it'd be cool if we got some animals, but we didn't even get that stuff. So you can get that stuff, but most of it doesn't, it's kind of, they say it does something, it really doesn't. Of it was just to say, okay, let's see what it does, if there's something really there and all. And we've done it before. We did the haunted house tour downtown Phoenix to some places and took the meters and stuff, and nothing. And does it prove anything? Does it disprove anything? I don't know. But we had fun. That was pretty much the big deal. I should have brought my stuff to go. See? Yeah, you bring it to the next run. See? But that was the whole point. I talked about it beforehand because there was a bunch of people, and I'm not going to mention them by name, in the camp that are all about the ghost hunting and paranormal and UFOs and crap. I was like, okay, bring your stuff, and then we'll all do stuff and we can compare. Funny thing is, none of the paranormal people ever want to do anything when someone else is doing it. And I was just kind of like, okay, let's see, because if yours goes off over here 10 feet away and says something, mine should say the same thing. They don't want to do that because what does it do? It kind of cancels something out, if they're saying two different things. Oh, there's two different ghosts 10 feet away, completely reacting to different things randomly with stupid things to say. And the best one we got was at Cochise Stronghold. And I was asking if there was any Apaches there, anybody there, any spirits and stuff. And it sent me an emoticon. So I'm like, okay, some Apache from 100 years ago, 150 years ago, uses emoticons. And Rocky, you're making everything go crazy. Rocky, okay. So anyways, yeah, bring it next time. Hello from the Red Hills State Park. I don't know what Red Hills State Park is, but okay. Years ago, we would go to the Armadillo World Headquarters and watch Stevie Ray Vaughan. I saw him twice, and he was awesome both times, just kind of real loose and stuff, but I saw him twice. So I was very fortunate at that. Interesting talk about non-human entities. I don't know why there's such a thing. That was part of my point. Hello. Here, come around behind me. I found a demon. There's a demon. There's a demon in the room. There we go. Yeah, there he is. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, can you fix the vase back there? The base.
When
Yeah.
the dogs knock it over?
I guess so. Or you. It was you or the dogs. Wasn't me. That makes me feel a little better. Okay. Lacey from Louisiana. Remember David and Lacey, my alligator head people. She just said hi, Trevor.
Is that what they are?
She said Trevor hi. Ed Riley said hi, Trev. What?
Hi.
Okay.
Is that what they are? Your alligator people?
They're the alligator people. Well, how many alligator heads do I have?
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Oh, okay. Trevor's going to take a nap. He had such a rough day and he had no sleep.
Hey, you try
Interesting.
working for
You try working. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you try working for 10, 12 hours and then going to coach baseball and all this stuff all the years. Yeah, you know what? F you. Okay. Yeah, what a baby. Okay. And off he goes. Take a nap. So, yeah, what a wussy. Okay. Anyways, he could have sat here for a half hour or so. But no, he couldn't even make that. So anyways, so it was fun. The point was to get different people and then look at stuff and then say, okay, does any of it ever seem relevant? You know, and I kind of know the answers to a lot of it as far as a lot of things, but it was just to look at it and then have kind of like be able to have a serious discussion on the principle of why do they think these things actually do the things they think they do. And which is just kind of, I like to go in my garage and play with this stuff because nothing ever happens, but some of the random stuff that comes out of there is hilarious. But yes, an emoticon from the Apaches in the 19th century was pretty cool. So we're still here. I think I posted that in Instagram. The one thing the Don's video showed is how busy you are, man. Thanks for your efforts. Yeah, and then, well, we always stay busy, and the Dons stay busy. We got stuff always going on with the Dons. So, yeah, always staying busy, always lots to do. And then you have to work. So I always envy the people that do podcasts and do stuff and don't have to do anything else, which I don't know if I really want to do that. And just try to make a living off of that because I like doing it the way I do it. Nobody has to tell me what I want, what I can or cannot do, or how I get to just talk. But the other side is I like going to work, man. I don't know about everybody else, but I like my job and I like working. So, but no, so we're always busy, and the Dawn stuff will kick up in January, late January, and we got Discovery Camp coming up, which will be very cool. We'll have to get some footage. The only problem is it's 3rd and 4th grade kids we're working with on the branding, roping, gold panning, a lot of different stuff, and hiking, and we can't show any of their faces, obviously, for privacy reasons. So, but we'll have to find a way to do some of it and kind of get. Trevor did a nice little video for the Dons. It's on their Facebook page, I believe, and it might be on the website of kind of showing an overview and talking about what we do at Discovery Camp. And we're hoping, I'm really pushing because we do it on Fridays, is to push an opening for Saturday, at least one Saturday where at least people in Apache Junction or something, we open to the public, and the public can come out and we'll go through the stuff that we do with the school kids and kind of open that up, because it is kind of like a mini trek type thing. The hike's short and all this, but it's kind of meant to kind of get that feel. If you combine that and the rendezvous, it's kind of like a slightly larger miniaturized size trek. Excuse me. So there you go. So there's that, the Dons and everything else. But it's been a good week. It's been cool. It rained this morning. So, well, before I got up. So it was like between midnight and 4 a.m. it rained. And then it was pretty much cloudy part of the day. It cleared out now. So it's nice and cool. And we got some much needed rain out in the desert. I don't think it matters in town. So that was kind of nice. It'll keep the dust down for a day or two. So that's kind of where we're at. I think right now it's probably in the 50s, I would think. 63. So there you go, 63 degrees. And it's pretty seasonably nice at night because it's only getting down into the 40s. So it's not bad at all. It's good weather to be out and about. But again, the job thing, which is important. So I do like my job. Our sponsor, We have sponsors, Dr. Pepper. Yeah, so that's a sponsor. I only allow sponsors for things that I like. So Dr. Pepper's a sponsor. They pay me nothing for that. I fully endorse this product. I endorse this product. Okay. But go through a lot of that. Anyhow, it is that season where everybody's getting kicked up and a lot of stuff's coming in. We got a few things planned out. It's just getting the time. We were hoping to go out a couple times in the last week. And everybody suddenly was healthy and fine. And then it was just kind of like, oh, wow, okay, I got to go do this, got to do that. And we ended and we were going to go down to Wilcox, which we did with Greg Davis, and that was a blast. And we saw the thing, went to Cochise Stronghold and, Benson, and we had a great trip. And the drive home was awesome, even though it's 4.5 hours. It kind of like there was a bit of a thunderstorm and there was rain, and it was just a really nice. And then we listened to Iron Maiden all the way back, which was really cool because Greg Davis was either asleep nodding his head or he was into Iron Maiden, so which is kind of cool. So all the way out, I think we listened to Trevor was putting up Chris Stapleton and some other stuff he was listening to, and then on the way back, because I have to stay awake for that whole drive back. That's a long day. Anyways, so we listened to Iron Maiden so I could kind of get into it a little bit and kind of the journey back to Phoenix. So, but we had a blast, me and Trevor and Greg Davis, and the Mara Indian Museum, the Chiricahua National Monument Museum, Rex Allen Hall of Fame Museum, and had a good lunch, had Sonoran hot dogs. Can't remember the name of the place we ate at. See, that's where Trevor comes in handy because he remembers some of those things. But it was a lot to do that day. Got a couple of good books. I don't have the one with me on here. It's still in the truck. And I'll have to kind of talk about that one week because it's a cool book on Cochise. It's a lot of the letters, journals, and stuff like that concerning the time period and interactions with him. So it's pretty interesting. So I've been reading that. So I picked that up on my journeys through the museums and all everywhere else. Plus, if you go to the Instagram or Facebook page, my pages, I don't know if Trevor posted them, but there was some really cool doors. They had to be about 20 feet tall, probably at least 10 feet wide or more. And they had a smaller door inside the one door. But when you look at them, I suddenly looked up and there was the Jesuit, hand-carved Jesuit symbols in one side. And then there's another symbol of something else on the other side. And I thought that was very cool. And I posted it. Nobody mentioned anything of it. Time is the monsoon season out there. The monsoon comes in somewhere in July through August, sometimes leads into September. It's probably one of the worst times to be here because it's like 110 to 120 degrees, and then it's humid as well, and then there's dust storms, and you never know what the weather's going to react like because they'll say, oh, it's rain, and then it won't be, and then they'll say, oh, it should be just hot the next couple of days, and then a storm will just suddenly blow in. And the walls of dust are incredible, but it's not the fun time of year to be here. This is the best time now through April. And there will be intermittently some rain, and it'll be cooler out and all. And then the spring's pretty nice, April, May, June. But what I would say about that time of period is it's heating up. The snakes are coming out, kind of like things change a bit. So always the late fall and the winter here is the best time of year because it never gets too hot. It'll warm up, and you'll have 80, 85 degree days during the winter. And it gets cold in the mornings, so it can get, if you go out camping, it will get cold out there. We went in through First Water one time to the tuning mine out by the Red Paint Mine and by Chuck Ayler's stone house, and it was 10 degrees when we went in that morning with me, Greg Davis, Kevin Nunemacher, Randy Wright. Pretty sure Jack Carlson was with us. I don't know who else was with us. I got a lot of pictures from that trip. But we went in and everything was iced over. The streams were iced over. Plenty of water, but a lot of ice. And it was very, very cold. I thought it was early spring starting to plan our next trip out there. So I was wondering. Yeah, March is really good because February can be kind of wet. It depends. And rain is so odd ball out here. You never know when it's coming, when it's going, when we're going to have good seasonal rains or not. Wildflowers in March, April is, and that depends on the rains too. Yeah. So, but yeah, the wildflower season when things green up, but you never know. We could have a dry winter and things don't quite pop, and then suddenly May or June we get a nice little rain, and then it goes crazy again. It's almost a timing because you never know when all that stuff's going to happen. So we need Frank on an episode again. It's been too long. Yeah, but I talk to Frank all the time. It's getting him to do this, and maybe I'll see him this weekend. It's getting his head wrapped around. Can you take an hour and do this? It can be such a drag to get him to do the simplest thing. Usually at this time he's in the bathtub, so he could be watching this right now, and he does sometimes watch it, but he watches it from the bathtub, and we don't want him to do this live from the bathtub. Trust me. But it's hard because, yeah, by the end of the year, I was hoping this year to get Magnuson, who we've never really had. We've had DeLille on a few times. We've had Woody on a couple times. And we've had Frank, and I do a lot of stuff with Frank, but it was trying to get something like that. And it was kind of really difficult sometimes because, it's just they do it. And Frank's, oh, been at the hospital. I'm driving back. Hope everybody gets better. Back and forth in the rain, crazy. I'm sorry to hear that, Bowman. So hopefully everything gets better for you and everybody gets healthy and things get better for all of them. But I don't know where I was at. But it's just tough. It's just social media. Even I mean, I understand what it does to some need to accomplish. I have a lot of people that work for me, and they come in and they will sit there on their phones going through TikTok, which I still really don't get. It's just they watch, and the stuff they watch on TikTok is just inane to me. But it's a feature that's so different. And Frank's Facebook page by invitation only. No, it shouldn't be. I don't know. I have no idea. It should be open to everybody. I don't think he did, unless someone gave him a hard time. He doesn't do Messenger. He'll answer my texts. He'll take my phone calls, but yeah, he's not a social media, that kind of guy. I don't even know if I've ever gotten an email from Frank. It's usually a text, and usually if one of us texts the other, then the phone rings immediately afterwards because we just find it easier to talk on the phone. So yeah, we're looking forward to you guys coming back out. Let us know when you're out because we should be out and about too. But yeah, Frank, and I understand it. I mean, it's not for everybody. I wasn't, when we first did the TV show, they sent us I got it somewhere, a piece of paper that said your social media accounts, and it gave us what we needed to do and how to conduct ourselves on them. And I was looking at stuff, and I had a Facebook page that had like 11 friends, 15 friends, and I posted one time on it. I posted something about the Blackhawks winning the Stanley Cup, and that was it. And I really, it was just not my thing. And then we did the TV show, and DeLille said, well, Woody and Frank don't even do this stuff. And he wasn't sure about Magnuson. So DeLille said he would take care of, I think it was Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter, if I would kind of lead on the Facebook stuff, because at least I kind of had a Facebook page. And we had a page that was set up between A&E and the production company, and nobody was doing anything on it. So I asked them, hey, can I become an administrator and post some stuff? Nothing revealing about the show, but post stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and talk and interact with people. And they said, yeah. And the TV show came out and all that happened, and it completely changed how I viewed it. It can be a tool for certain things. I don't use it for recipes and a lot of other stuff. But Frank found it annoying. He likes to comment once in a while. He likes to do some stuff. But Messenger is just like, you don't know who people are, and it comes, it's just so confusing. And it's just, when you add it on, I agree with Frank. I was a person that if cell phones went away forever, I don't know how much problem I would have with that. I thought a pager at one time was like an anchor in life. Um, so it was really kind of weird for me. And then Trevor obviously kind of introduced me to more and more of it. So now I do have a Twitter and I have an Instagram. Um, I don't know, but some of the other stuff I just wasn't into, Reddit, that kind of stuff. And then he introduced me to YouTube. I thought Facebook, and there's still people that still live and swear and exist by the Facebook. And then he said, no, if we're going to do videos, you're going to post videos, because I was starting to do the lives. He said, you should do it over on YouTube. And then he just absolutely showed me that. And I realized, oh, yes, that's a completely better place to be formatted on Facebook. It's just someone going through just hitting like if they recognize like it doesn't do anything. It doesn't move any needles actually. Where YouTube actually does move the needle a bit. So it has its ways that it does it. Just because you see, oh, you got only 1,000 views, but this channel has 3,000 views. Yeah, but people use bots and stuff. We go at it just pure straightforward. And our watch time, if you're a YouTube creator and stuff, you go in, it'll rank people by watch time, because they go by watch time, not views. And if you look at watch times, we actually do very, very well. And we've always done really well, which means real live people are in this. And that was a big thing for me, is who cares if I get, 1 million views? Who cares if I get this? If nobody's really watching, then it's just kind of BS. And if other people want to play those games, that's fine. But that was purely on my part. Always just, it was about, yeah, if people want to hear something and all that, that's fine. If people don't want to, and understand, Frank and Woody just don't get into that stuff. I don't know if Woody ever really does much of anything. Usually Christmas he posts something. Okay, the comments part is just not active. No worries. I don't know about active. I just found your Instagram, Greg Davis and the Dilly Bar. Yeah, Greg, we're doing the thing. It's called The Thing. It's I don't know, mummified. It looks like a mummified monkey head on some paper mache thing. Anyways, we were checking that out, and Greg was out front, and then he went over, and there's a Dairy Queen there, and next thing I know, he shows up in the Dilly Bar and goes, I got a Dilly Bar. And then I kind of told him he wasn't allowed in the truck, because I told him he might make a mess in the back seat like he was a child. And that was pretty funny. And then we basically, I turned to him. I think he was finishing his Dilly Bar, and I said, hey, Greg, you ever been to Cochise Stronghold? Oh, I was there when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I haven't been back there since. I'd love to go there. So it was like taking a little child in the back seat all the way out to Cochise Stronghold. And then it got funny. There were these 2 old ladies walking down the road by the campground, and we were leaving, and Greg thought there was a camp host, and I told him, no, there's no camp host. And anyone here who's met Greg and knows Greg does not listen to know. And I said, no, there's no camp host. And he's like, oh, no, I got to stop the truck. Well, these 2 old ladies, we went by, and they waved at us, and they're just walking by. Well, then I stopped the truck. Greg jumps out of the truck right in front of them and runs. And you could tell they were scared to death of this guy jumping out of the truck, running at him. Then he runs by him and up the road. They hurried up and got away from us. But I was like, Greg, you're going to give those little ladies a little heart attack, man. And then he got him back, and he said, oh, what I saw, I thought was the camp host. That was actually a little sign that just told you what kind of plan it was. So, but he had a good time. Kudos to your YouTube approach. Never use clickbait. Well, it's not even clickbait. There's bots, and you can go out and buy views. You can buy subscribers. And we post, and most people can see our YouTube if they're YouTube creator and stuff. Most of our stuff we just keep out and honest, because it's just how it is. So I can sit there and say we're coming up on 2 million views on our YouTube videos, and it's been done completely honestly. We've never marketed. We've never put a dime into this other than equipment. But as far as marketing, promoting, doing anything other than I just post it on Facebook and it goes out to the YouTube subscribers, I've never done anything. I've never paid a dime for anything on this. And I'm proud of that because that's how you build. And I tell people that go to do it because they get very, very bummed out when they put their channel out, 20 friends and family get into it and nothing happens. And I said, it's a slow growth, but it's satisfying when you realize how it works and when you realistically get um, people tuning in to actually do what you do. That's like the first time I did Facebook Live, and there's like 1,000, 1,500 people like trying to get in on it. And I was like, what the hell? But it's there's people listening to you and there's something interacting. And don't make it comparative to like, oh, their channel, because their channel is spending money and has sponsors and they're trying to make money. And that's a whole different thing about marketing and making money. We went to do the shirts. We wanted to do the best quality shirts, but not really make anything for ourselves. The whole idea was to make sure people were fans of the show and wanted that type of thing, merchandise. They got quality merchandise, and because of that. And it's really strange because a lot of people try to go with something cheap and make bucks off of it. You're not becoming a millionaire by selling t-shirts. Trust me, unless you have your own clothing line at JCPenney's. So it's funny. People, and more power to the people that want to do it that way. But I just think in longevity and who are you competing with when you're faking it? You're not competing with anybody. YouTube right now. We got to go check out Bob's new patio. I know Bob called me about his new patio. He said, "You got to come down and check the new patio. You got to check it out. You got to check it out." So I got to go down and see the new patio, call him, and make sure we're going to both be down there and have lunch with him and check it out. Because he made a big deal about the new patio. He made God, that was around the rendezvous too, wasn't it? Yeah, he put in the new patio. Was working on it. Oh, he was working on it before the rendezvous because I called him that Friday, talked to him on the phone, and he'd been working on the patio. Anyhow, yeah, I haven't seen him for a bit of time. It's been kind of funny because the rendezvous happens, and then there's just like this quiet period where we're all gearing back up, and then we start running into each other. But then it gets busy, and when it's busy, it's hard to break off and do certain things. So, and there's always other things coming up because it's so spread out with so many different people and so many different things you're trying to get done in a certain amount of time. I was wearing that raccoon hat. If we see it, I hope he's wearing. That's the only time I've ever seen him in that hat. It's kind of funny. And he was wearing shorts, wasn't he? Was he wearing shorts? I don't know. Maybe he was wearing pants, but it's like short sleeve shirt, no jacket. But he's wearing this big thing, like he was freezing out. Oh, anyways, I'm sure the hat's been retired. It was hilarious. It was funny. All right. So, anyways, but enough about shoes. But yeah, I've talked to everybody. Everybody's been well so far and everything, and kind of heard from a few people or from a couple people here through today. And it's just kind of like, okay, seeing where everything's going and hoping we get out here in the next few weeks and get some more stuff done. One of the problems too is when you go out, kind of like talking the YouTube thing, is when we go out and you want to film and stuff, we don't go out with a real plan of doing something. We go out and say, well, we want to go check this out or that out. And what you see is edited of kind of when there is actually something to do something. The time we found those silver dollars at Burns Ranch, we were going out there just to look at it. There was no idea. I think we filmed a couple chasing legends. The whole purpose was completely different. And then Trevor just happened to have the camera, was going around doing some B-roll shots because we weren't sorry, we weren't sure how much change could come to the ranch, so we wanted to get more stuff filmed. And as we were filming, that's when I found them, and then we were like, oh, look, check it out. So sometimes that stuff happens is we're just filming, and then we realize, oh, this actually worked into where we can use it. There's so much stuff that we never used, and then the problem is it goes onto the hard drives, and then we lose track because it's just masked in with the other footage. So sometime we're going to have to sit down when we have time, with like we ever have that kind of time, and just roll through stuff and see what's there, and then just put a bunch of this bits and pieces out there and do some like special stuff for Fridays or something with that stuff, because sometimes it's pretty interesting. There, it's not bloopers, it's just stuff we did that we thought was kind of boring, and we thought, there's not much not much reason to do it. Just like watch kids Easter egg hunt. But no, so when we go do that, so hopefully we get back out and we do more of it, because there was so much we had planned and so much we want to do. And it's kind of like Frank's suggestion is just I should go out in the mountains and then kind of do more, not a tutorial, not the boring hiking video, but talking about the history and stuff, and do a kind of a long form thing of us going through, kind of a little bit like we did a little bit at on Peralta Trail going up to Weaver's Needle. We did a little bit of that. So he says that would be very interesting. He kind of wants to see that. So I've been planning on doing something like that. The problem is that I go do it and then I completely lose track, and Trevor doesn't remind me. We never film. So we spend the whole day in the mountains. Then we come out and I'm like, oh, what shit? What did we film? And he'll be like, nothing. So it was like the rendezvous. We were going to do a bunch of sit down with a number of different people and talk to people. Jack Tucker did a lot more filming than I ever did. Trevor went off with Tom Van and John Wayne Galloway, and he got a few minutes with Sal. And other than that, we didn't really film anything because we're so busy doing other stuff, and you're having a good time, and we just don't think about it because we don't feel like we're a television station. So our approach is we go out. Trevor tries to keep in mind he's supposed to film, but yeah, he gets wrapped up into stuff too. He starts having too much fun, and we don't plan on like set a hard camera over here so we get some footage. We just don't plan on it that way. I wonder if anything would happen on Burns Ranch with your ghost gear. We tried. That's what I talked about earlier. We did that, and I left cameras out there at night, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Then we had the stories of myths and stories about Bigfoot and all this different stuff and aliens and all this crap. And it really kind of sucked because that was, I had to sit through hours of that footage of nothing there. And you don't want to miss something. So I'm just sitting there watching. And I got through it. And I told Trevor, I said, it'd be really cool to do something with all that footage. And the big plan was there was a paranormal group, Arizona Paranormal Society, one of the bigger groups anyways. They were going to come out, and the idea was, you guys do your thing, we'll do our thing, we'll do it together, and then we can even swap SD cards and then see what each other got and stuff. And they didn't want to do that. They bailed in the end. So if they ever come up and say anything about it, they utterly bailed. And then they said, well, you can't film us because like they have some precious YouTube presence. It's like, the whole idea is like, it's not a challenge. It's not a test. It's if you're that afraid to do that, just kind of like go out with the same, because it's not like your equipment's any better than mine. It's the same stuff, same principle. But they did not want to do that. And so they just kind of bailed. Yeah, the Fish Creek stuff, that was a lot of back when we just remembered to turn on the cameras. And you have to remember, originally it was just iPhones. It's just the reason it worked so well was Frank never did anything. But me and Trevor would use iPhones. And then we broke it into where I would use an iPhone and Trevor and Tyler were using HD cameras. And then we broke it, and then we started going 4K. Then we had to stop using the iPhones. But now we can use the iPhone again because my iPhone is 4K, so it works with the footage of the 4K. So we use the Blackmagic 4K a lot for stuff. That's what we've been using for chasing legends. And actually, I got to admit, I like the way it works. So that's really nice. But we changed up and we tried different things. But originally, the whole idea was the first 2 episodes were just us running around with iPhones, kind of like it was like a test. Let's see what this looks like. Let's edit it, see what happens. Let's kind of goof around and kind of follow up. And it was kind of like once the contract ended, we thought we can go out and put this stuff on the internet as long as we don't touch certain creative properties that I'd worked on with them. I had to be careful to make sure I didn't step on any toes, because that was part of where we scouted and some of what we had done with I had been doing with History Channel. And so I was careful about that. And then in the end, it just kind of like, we were like, okay, let's put that out. Because we made a couple more trips. And we said, well, what do we do? And I just told Trevor, let's just make them an easy dozen. And that's what we did. In fact, I think the first season, didn't we do 11 and then we did like a recap on the 12th? It's been a while. But yeah, we weren't very good with the iPhones either. But again, it was just meant long form home movies. And we managed to keep working it into something. It wasn't so much paying attention or trying to make money at it. It was looking at it and trying. And of course, Trevor was a film student. So suddenly he's telling me, this is how we need to do this. This is how we work this. And we started trying to see how close can we get, even though it's more raw footage of the presentation that a TV show goes through. Can we put this stuff together better than they can, or at the same level that they can, which I think we could. If we took the time, we could film in much shorter time period. The same thing with all the tricks. The biggest difference is the multi-camera, and it's hard editing when you have multiple cameras doing some of that stuff, but we're not staging anything. The one thing we have going for us is if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it's too boring, we just don't use it. And there's none of this, okay, let's go back and do that again. Let's dig that back out. There's none of that. It happens or it doesn't happen. Where in television, it's like, okay, Magnuson's shoulder was in the way. Let's go back and redo this. And we go back and redo it. And by the time you're done, everybody looks a little tired and pissed off because everybody's kind of tired because we did it 18 times and it kind of lost all its relevance to us because we're just kind of over it. Okay, we want to really kind of be done with that. Do you know what change of heading looks like? A change of heading? No. Okay. Phone footage with Final Cut Pro editing works. And we used the first trailer, which is still there on YouTube. I did that in on my iPhone actually. So I put it together, the music. It was like that whole basic thing with the music and everything. And I put it together, and then Trevor went through, and we both, between the two of us, kind of reorganized what we wanted to do, and we threw it out for fun, and it worked out really good. That's what kind of got us kind of thinking of doing that. Now, right now, I can't remember what he uses. Most people use the same thing he's using. I don't know what it is, but it's a completely different process. Everything we do now is in 4K RAW. We got about 20 minutes that we put on cards and CFast cards, and then that goes in, and it's not colorized, it's raw footage, so the colorization and everything changes, and it's how they make actual films and movies and stuff like that. And he goes through a long process where there's a lot more process to it, but in the finished product looks really good. And of course, we went with the lav mics, and we're using Zooms for audio now. So, except for here like this, we don't, because it's live. But we use the Zooms for audio. And then we got multiple Zooms because the idea was in the future is when we go to do certain things, instead of hearing us off camera and things, we'll just hook up the Zooms. And then say me and Frank can have Zooms, and you can actually hear the actual audio. And we wanted to go for that quality, so, which is the next generation of thing. And then it's again me, Frank, and Trevor sitting down and deciding what is the next generation of stuff. Chasing Legends took off on its own because of COVID, and it's been kind of a weird thing because we've been basically like 4 years into that, and that wasn't the main reason. It was 12 episodes a year and do a few lives with the 12 episodes. So there wasn't supposed to be all this stuff going on 2 days a week and all that. It just built into that. All right. They charted things different than we do today. They did not use DP tracking or GPS. Well, yeah, nobody used it. There was no satellites. 1600. I'm looking forward to seeing Trevor's movie Sunsets. Sunsets, when it's done, my fault, will be awesome. It's very close. Well, Trevor's done. There's some changes I still want to make in it that we're arguing over, which are very minor. But the main thing is the music. And it's just been like the Wilcox trip. We make a trip, and then there's another thing, and then I got to go to Flagstaff, and then I got this for work. And I sit down, and then I put some music together. I haven't even listened to the last couple hours of music I put together and mixed anything. We mixed one down, and I take time and I want to listen to it, and then I want to watch the film again and kind of like listen to it and look at the film, kind of see where I'm at and if it's good. And that's generally usually the bigger problem is I want it. He did such a good job on the film, and it's really, if you're into the Lost Dutch Mine and Dutch hunting, you're going to love this thing. I can say that. And if you know any of the people, you're going to love it even more. And he did such a great job. I think it needs to be proper. And I don't want it to be hokey. I don't want it to be silly. I don't want it to be like, well, that was fine. It has to be quality. And so I really kind of kicked myself about. And like I said, we got into that discussion before, where I finally couldn't figure out what was wrong with the music. I was just going, oh, I'll do Spanish style guitar, and we'll do a bunch of different cuts and a bunch of different selections and different patterns, and then we'll just place them in, and it was pretty good. And then I realized it didn't fit, and I was trying to figure it out, and that finally dawned on me is I need to go and put the music and understand the rhythm of the film, the rhythm of the speakers, but I got to understand also the key and where they're speaking from. And then it started to sound better because I started going, okay, what's this? Okay, he's kind of sitting in an A. And then it suddenly made sense. That's what I was missing. And it's just looking at, you're just not writing a song and just doing it. It's a whole different thought process when you're doing it properly. So it was making it back. It is tricky. It was a lot trickier than I thought because I usually work, even if you're working for music for film, you're just working for background music of the film. And the independent films that I did music for many years ago, all that stuff that I did, I never heard any dialogue. It was just basically they wanted stuff to fit a tone of this and that. And you'd get some footage and you'd look at it and go like, okay, what, dark and foreboding, get kind of some idea, and you would work with it. And then they say, okay, that's fine. Now it's indie stuff and all that. And this is an independent film, I guess, as well. But when I went to do it and I was listening to it, I was like, if it's too good and it doesn't fit, it kind of overshadows the actual film itself. So you're starting listening to the music going, oh, that's really cool. Well, now you're not listening to Clay Worse. I want it to be separation where it's introducing and it's segues, and then it's not really even, if it's in the background even slightly, you kind of, it just kind of like is out there and you don't really notice it. So, it was really important to get it all right. And and it was a struggle because it's a whole different approach, more serious approach to what I normally would do. And then of course we recorded it one way and I didn't like it. Then we'll record it a different way and I didn't like it. Now I'm absolutely 100% working just straight direct with the Pro Tools, and I'm pretty happy with what I'm getting. But I'm still an old school guy who wants the depth of the room. But I got to remember in this area, and I've watched some tutorials of people I respect as far as making film music, and it was more interviews and listening to them because I understood my mindset processes on making rap music or popular music, and I'm not doing that. I'm doing something completely different, so I had to have a whole different approach. Hey, my God, right under the drum? Man, you heard that drum go. Right under one of the toms. Man, I don't know if you guys heard that. That was pretty loud. It really banged in here. Anyways, which makes it more difficult to record in here because we got the drum kit sitting in here behind the keyboards now. I wanted to put the drum kit in the garage temporarily, just keep the floor tom in here because I might need it for something, but I was 86 on that idea, so I'm kind of crowded in here. Need to reorganize. We have a lot of gear that needs to find a better place to sit and stay and kind of pare down. Hey, Jax, how you doing, buddy? Okay, so there we are. Different music, EQ that doesn't overshadow a voice. That's funny. I kept telling Mayor Bob, I love your hair. He kept saying, it's not my hair. It's not my hair. So But you know what? It's funny, if Bob could grow his hair out way out, that would probably be what it would look like, because that's kind of his hairstyle. It's kind of funny. Hey, buddy, nice of you to visit. Nice of you to visit. Everybody wonders where you guys are sometimes. Yes, you're a good boy. You are. You're a very good boy, aren't you? Okay. Your brothers are out back barking. Nope, you're the good boy. So there we are. So yeah, sunsets, and maybe what I'll have Trevor do is put together like bits and pieces of it when we almost get the final music together. Maybe we can run something on a Friday, and then everybody can give us feedback of what they think of that music with those interspersed parts, just a few lines from people here and there, kind of like a trailer, but kind of maybe a 4 or 5 minute trailer with the music that we're thinking of using in the final version. And everybody can give us some feedback of what they think and some of the transitions. But, again, that's one of the big deals. It will be, and then the actual download version is the thing I've been talking to Trevor on. Of course, there's the pride factor. You always want the physical version, and he already has that set up. All the artwork's done. Everything is basically set to go. It's waiting on music for the final version. So, but I've tried to tell him that it needs to be in a downloadable source as well, and we had a little bit of an argument there. I don't know that. Maybe it's the filmmaker in him. He's got pride on that. But yeah, I would think after people are going to want the physical version, and it's like our people are less and less into Blu-rays. It's moving away from the Blu-rays and DVDs, and it'll move back because people like to have physical things. You can't sign a download. Rob Zombie said that once. He said, that's the thing that sucks. You can't sign a download, and you can't. You can't do that. Doesn't stick. So I know that's kind of like he wants that physical copy and start getting those out. And then the idea is to put it out, and then some of the music and stuff that we worked on, and who knows in what capacity that is, because there's a musical side to all this that I always thought would go with this, and then I realized I took that and said, no, that'll be separate. So all that stuff will come. It's always a matter of a little bit of time here and there and the quiet time. It has to be just that time period where you have the time and you're like, okay, I'm in a good place to do this. And it moved along, and there was a couple different days. I spent almost 12 to 14 hours just sitting in here working on stuff. And part of the problem is this chair is just, Trevor's chair is so uncomfortable. I need a better chair. It's hard on the butt, and you can't keep it higher. It's like broken or something. It keeps going lower. And I like to be sitting higher working on this stuff. And no arms. I need something with half arms or no arms here. But yeah, once we got everything up where it was very functional and easy for me to use, and I even had my own cheat sheet to work off of, which is sitting right up here, and I had everything going, I was like, okay, I'm in business. And then it's just that time factor, which becomes difficult, because it's not like, oh, I'll spend 15 minutes and work on this. I'll spend time. You got to sit down. And there was one piece of music I worked on that's 17 to 20 minutes in length, and I kind of work through it 17 to 20 minutes. And each time I want to listen to it, I work on it, I have to almost listen to the whole thing. So you're sitting there letting it breathe. And then with sunsets is I want to make sure I have whatever version he's at in that process, which now it's finished and it's sitting on my computer. But I want to bring it up on one screen, and then I got to bring my Pro Tools on the other. And then I'm not trying to listen to his, but I'm trying to listen to Pro Tools with it, and kind of look at it as I'm listening to it, and then kind of find a way to blend it and see if it works for me. So without adding it in, because it's a pain in the butt for him each time, because then we got to sit down together and go through, and then I got to show him, because I watch it and then I timestamp everything for him. And then when we go through, I like to be physically there as we timestamp and make sure when it comes in, whether it comes in hard or fades. And it's a lot of work, and it's time consuming, because when you have a 2-hour film, it's every time you're working on everything, it's a couple hours to work on it. So It will come. It will come, and I'm hoping that we'll wrap it up before the end of the year, and all that stuff will be done. And then everybody will. Then we'll work on the next project, which was going to actually be Bradshaw Ranch, and because we were going to expose the whole reason and purpose behind why those people did that stuff, and they wrote books about it, and how it was completely phony crap, and we had the permission and ability to go in there and do things, and we started gathering interviews, and we did a lot of scouting, and we had everything set in motion. And then a couple of these stupid ghost shows decided to do stuff on it. And then now it looks like we're going to be, people look at us. They won't look. The purpose for the film was to show how Sedona went from kind of a place to drink beer and smoke pot into this new age sci-fi place, and how it changed so much because it wasn't that before, and how it became that, and how it's been infiltrated. And that's the tourism industry of it. It's none of it is real. And we wanted to kind of show that pattern, and then talk to some of the people. We talked to some of the ranchers out there who were like absolutely just mind blown of like how it's changed and stuff, and said, in the last 30 years or so, none of that stuff used to be there. None of these things happen. It's absolutely made up. And it was interesting kind of looking at the marketing ploy that worked. And the funny thing is, when Sedona made that big turn at that time, is when they had a UFO conference coming to town. It became a big conference. They were able to bring them in, and then that completely changed that around. But I remember in the 70s, that Slide Rock and all that stuff, I never heard anybody talk about UFOs or any of this stuff, or pyramids, or all these chuck up points and portals and whatever. None of that stuff. It came as time went on, and definitely after the whole transition of the 70s occult into the paranormal and the supernatural and all that stuff, and the new age stuff. So I bought the books, and we were going to do a really nice kind of look at the history, kind of documentary about how that stuff played out. And then supposedly, there's supposed to be a videotape of a flying saucer landing and all the aliens running around that the family owns and privately show to people, but no one's ever seen it. And we got to realize it was probably faked so badly they're embarrassed to even try to show it now. But we wanted to kind of talk about all those aspects of, like, if you have that real thing, you have a real Bigfoot, you want the DNA tested to show that you really have a Bigfoot. You don't put them in an ice thing and fucking run around the shopping malls and show them out to people for 50 cents a pop. There's a bigger game there, and something much larger. So we wanted to take that approach of saying, okay, if any of this stuff happened, let's look into it. And the first thing that blew my mind is, if you ever get the book on Bradshaw Ranch, which is supposed to be like a skinwalker ranch, is there was supposed to be an albino pregnant Bigfoot that went out to the horse corrals and braided the horses' manes and put flowers in them. And there's no proof of this. There's no photographs. There's no photographs of the Bigfoot, nothing. But they show like a scuffly, something on the grounds where you can't tell what it is. And they said, well, this is where the pregnant Bigfoot was laying after it. And it just gets so, if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, it's just kind of like mind numbing of like, you will sit there and go, why would anybody even believe this? And of course, back then it was all Polaroids. There's a bunch of stuff that you could just tell someone was smoking a cigarette, and cigarette smoke goes by and they call it something, and different things. But we wanted to kind of talk about the story and look at it from a modern approach, and spend time there. And then of course they put all this stuff on TV, and now we would look like a bunch of guys like, oh yeah, we saw it and we know it's fake, so we're doing it. It wasn't the purpose. The purpose was, we knew about it years ago. And I wanted to talk about that kind of change and how that orients, people won't talk about it, then somebody will find out a way to make money. And I wanted to get a couple of people that were involved, kind of talk to them about it, because it's a marketing thing, you're making money on it. If you're making money on it, that's a whole different thing, right? Nobody does it for free. I do, I guess. But no, when I go to do TV and history checks on them, there's checks, and they send me money for stuff. There's money involved. So there you go. Okay, so now somehow we end up in Bigfoot Bradshaw Ranch Sunsets. We talked about music. We talked about this. We've talked about the audio of the room. We talked about the dogs. The dogs are still out back parking or whatever. And Jax has just fallen asleep behind me. So he's done. He's over it. He says it's almost dinner time, which it is. It's almost time for dinner. I don't think it's pizza. I don't know what it is tonight. And nobody's commenting, so I don't know if anybody's into what I'm saying or everybody's just lost or everybody just wandered off to use the toilet, go have a cigarette, and left me rambling to myself here. Maybe so, but then I'll start wrapping it up now because we've been here for an hour and that's enough. They let me out of my cage, they let me off my meds, and I get an hour, and then I go back. And I miss being able to cover it all. Pretty much tried to. But good to see everybody. We get a lot of people from down south now, from Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. We got New Jersey in there, obviously New York, but yeah, we're getting more people from the south, so that's interesting too. That kind of area in the Appalachians, and all that. So that's kind of cool too. We get a lot of people from all over, and that's what's kind of cool about this. Is I always look at it, is we haven't seen the Irish contingent for a while. There's a couple people from Ireland, someone from New Zealand, there's a couple Australians pop in, and some Canadians. It's always interesting that you're doing this live, and then I sit back and I think, man, you're in Ireland. What time is it that you're sitting up to watch this? What? No wonder you're not here. So there, Bobby's hitting on Lacey. Okay. that was funny. That was cool. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just doing a compliment. That's what we're going to say. Sir Bobby is just complimenting her. Lord, here we go. Yeah, we couldn't have that conversation around the campfire when everybody was there together now. Anyway, see, there we go. We have to go. See, when we've been here too long, I made you laugh. You made everybody have a good laugh, Bobby. And it was cool meeting you, dude. Man, one cool dude, man, Bobby Benzel. That was very cool. And Larry's good. And David's good. And Lacey's cool. And it's all cool. Yeah, it's kind of funny. A little group. I will never forget Sal and the badges argument that night. We probably never should talk about it again. Drunk people should not become treasure hunters together and do business around a campfire. Is what a lot of us learned. There's a breakdown, and especially language barrier there that night too as well. So I'm gonna get out of here, get myself some food. I have to work tomorrow. I got the news, but it's overtime, so it's always good, man. I like to work. I like to put my time in. David and Lacey, thank you for joining us again. It's kind of interesting, but you are the alligator people. So, Sal is a trip. We appreciate you. Sal is a trip, but he's our friend. I need a regulator badge. Yeah, Bobby. You know what? If those guys show up next year, I have to find some badges and have deregulator badges to offset the regulators in the room. There we go. And we will explain that sometime on a live. Maybe we can. Maybe I'll have Sal come in. He won't want to talk about it. About the regulators and badges. That's too hard to unpack for real. But we had a good time watching them. It was like a performance. It was kind of like me doing this, but it was other people enacting something in front of us as we sat there and drank and watched them and became amazed at how serious it got. We thought there was a throwdown fight going on, and somebody just wanted somebody to take them home. So we got their feelings hurt. All right. Anyways, so everybody have a good weekend. Have a good time. Catch us back on Chasing Legends. And we will be back on Monday with that. Good to see everybody. Yeah, everybody have no reason to say thank you. Thank you for freaking hanging out and listening to me talk. So everybody have a good night. Thank you for joining us, one and all. We will see you again next week. So thank you. And man, I still need to find out. I got to put a little script thing here of how I want to always end this. But just thank you for watching. And we'll catch you next time on Legends Live.